Okay, hello and welcome to this video. My name is Jamie Abraham, and today I'll be teaching you the principles of design. The principles of design are pretty much the guidelines that help you create functional designs. When I say functional designs, I mean designs that are not only beautiful but are able to work to communicate effectively to your perfect audience. Okay, so they are not rules, but if followed, they can boost towards the functionality and the looks of a design. What the principles of design does is that it not only boosts the functionality but also the looks. At some point it does that too. So if you're able to apply it in your designs, your designs will be functional and look beautiful at the same time. But the main thing is the functionality. So first and foremost, we're going to consider a principle of design called emphasis. Emphasis is a strategy that aims to draw the viewer's attention to a specific design element. Yes, to a specific design element. That could be an area of content, to an image, to a link, or a button. Yes, there are certain ways you design maybe a flyer and then you use some elements just to point out a point where people are supposed to take action. For example, where they are supposed to copy your number from on the flyer, you can use emphasis to do that. So that is the work of emphasis. We're going to check an example of it. So let me switch to the next slide so you can see emphasis here is on the green. You can see the leaves there. The other ones are white and black, but you can see that this particular one has been made unique for a reason. So that is the work of emphasis. That is emphasis in place. This is more like art, but once you're designing your flyer or your designs or anything, just make sure that a point is different so that the attention of people can be drawn to that place. You can also see, I think these are eyes. Yes, these are eyes, but you see how this one is made big or bigger, and then there's a color difference just to differentiate them. Okay, that's emphasis. So the next one is contrast. Contrast in literal terms just means the opposite of something. Yes, that's what it means, but it extends more than that. You see, contrast occurs when visual elements placed close together noticeably differ from what each other. Yes, you see, it's all about the difference. You might immediately think of color contrast, such as red versus blue or warm versus cool. Yes, you can also talk of black and white. Black is the opposite of white. So, black is a contrast of white. While color is an extremely important aspect of contrast, there are contrasts of type, that is, contrast of text. Yes, you contrast of text can occur in a form that you use a sans serif and a serif. Don't worry, you are going to learn that later. In form of alignment, you can use a center alignment and left right alignment, size, and all that. Don't worry, you are going to get all that at the end. So this is an example of contrast. Like I said, black and white are opposite colors, are contrasting colors rather. So you can see it here. Also in the illustration at the right hand side, you see a yellow arrow moving upward. The opposite of up is what? Down. You see another color moving downward. So there is a contrast of shape and the contrast of color here, because there is black, which is perfectly dark, and then there is yellow, which is almost white. And that's what contrast means. Okay, so the next thing is hierarchy. If you were a science student, I think in biology you should learn about the taxonomy hierarchy. Yes, that is the order in which elements or stuffs are classified. Now, what does hierarchy do? It allows you to arrange your element, your shape, text, and all that is included in your flyer in a way that the most important appear the most, or the biggest. So that's what hierarchy does. So let's read the test. Hierarchy in graphic design utilizes several key principles, including color. Yes, there's hierarchy of color, there's hierarchy of size, contrast, alignment, repetition, and brightness, to emphasize certain characteristics of the design. Yes. So I'm going to show you an example of contrast here. You see, once you see this text, what are you going to read first? You will read this first, right? Then after the you will read this first, what does your mind, what does your eye go to next? You will see, and you will read this line next. I mean the yellow one at the bottom. That's what you are going to read next. Then you are going to read, that's why you hire a professional next. Then another there's another text there which you cannot see because it is kind of small. So that's how hierarchy work. The most important things should be displayed first. Take for example, the theme of a flyer should appear more than the address and all that. So you must take into consideration things that are important, that are supposed to be displayed first, that are supposed to be seen first on the flyer or on the design. Okay, that being said, let's move to the next thing, which is white space. Any blank or empty space surrounding all the elements in a design composition. It is a space between text, images, button, and other objects that the user can see on a page or a screen. Yes, that is true, but you need to take this into consideration, that the name white space does not mean that the space has to be white. No, that's not what it means. White space is just a space surrounding, okay, let's say a space where there is no text, where there is no image, where there is no button and other objects. And what white space does is that it gives your design a breathing space, so you don't chunk things up together, or you jam pack them in one place. It's not nice at all. So your design should have white space. Whenever you are designing, take that into consideration. So this is an example of white space. You can see the one to the left. You can see there is a spoon, and then there are bottles inside. That's not the white space. The white space is where you see nothing written. The white space in this case is a black color, where you see nothing written, where you see nothing there. That's the white space. Then if you move to the right, you are going to see that the white space is a milk color also. That is where you see nothing. Now all these work together just to make sure that your design breathe, and then they also create a source of suspense, just like the one at the right. So you can use white space for all that. As you design more, you learn more. So that's how it works. So let's move to the next one, which is what movement. In graphic design, movement doesn't refer to the movement of the images on the screen. No, we are not dealing with animations. So it's not going to talk about that. Instead, it refers to what movement on the part of the viewer. That is how is my viewer, or the person that is going to see this flyer or this design at the end of the day, how does it think, how is he going to view this? So you have to think also like the person who is going to see the design, so that you can add some element to it. Subconsciously we do some things that we don't just even know, just because we are human being and we think alike, and we take action alike in some cases. So you are going to leverage on that to make your designs functional. Okay, so let's take an example briefly. So if you check the right hand side, I think, okay, that's the left hand side, you will see that there's a big circle, and then on and on it reduces in size up to the last one. If you check it from the beginning, you are going to be curious to check till the last one and be like, how is this thing going to end? Yes, that's the thing, because that is how human mind is wired, and subconsciously you are doing that because you are human. These are psychological effects that some images have on us. So if you are able to create an effect such as this on your design, you get people to pay attention to it. So that's it. You can see by the left, or sorry, by the right, you can see bad and good movement. Bad movement means, okay, once i move to once I move to the small one, you also take me to the big one again, which is not nice, because in my mind I'm expecting something to be smaller and smaller and smaller, but you are giving me something different. I get tired on the way and then I leave it. So that's how movement works. Okay, repetition. Repetition simply means the pictorial elements are completely or partially reused. Emphasis on what? Reused. Completely and what? Partially. They can be same or similar color in the design. The use of the element or similar lines, fonts, sizes, and text or setting. This should not be hard for you to understand. Meanwhile, we have our image here. You can see the repetition of the cup, just that their handles are being flipped. Yes, they are being flipped diagonally. You see one hand here, the handle is at the other side, like that, and the shadow and all that. You see it, yes. So that is repetition. All this makes sense. If you check this, you are going to see that at the right hand side, you see elements being repeated. It's just one element being repeated to make this very harmonious piece on the right. Yes, so that's what repetition can do to your design. So the next one is what? Proportion. It refers to the relationship between one part of a design and another part, or to the whole design. It's comparison of shape, size, quantities. Yes, normally if you are going to make an illustration, let's say you are going to paint a cup and a spoon and a tablespoon. Normally the cup is supposed to be larger or bigger than the spoon. But once you want to divert someone's attention and come up with something unusual, you are going to use an abnormal proportion. How are you going to do it? You will make the spoon bigger than the cup, so someone want to pay attention and see why the spoon is actually bigger than the cup. So in this case, you can see it normally. Look at how big the fish is. Someone is going to stare and say, wow, this fish actually looks big. And look at the boat on the face of the water, so small. And also you see a hand trying to kick an airplane away, which is very unusual. So that's how to grab people's attention. So the next one is what? Balance. Balance. For something to be balanced, it means it has to be what? 50-50. Now, balance covers how elements are weighed against each other on different sides of a design to create cohesiveness, completion, and satisfaction. Your composition should be balanced vertically, horizontally, diagonally, or background versus what? Foreground. So let me give you an example. Like you can see, On the left you see you see a square, and then there is balance on it. So that's what balance is a very important element in design. Make sure you check your balance each time you design. Then to the right you see someone who said was cut off on purpose, just to draw attention to. Okay, that just to draw attention to. Then if you see, once the head is cut off, normally the head is supposed to be at the middle where the neck is, but they actually put it at the point where the other hand is, just to create a balance in this design. It is on purpose. They did it intentionally to grab your attention. So that is how balance works. If your design is not balanced, then it's not functional at all. It has failed both the functionality test and the aesthetic test. That is how beautiful it is. Okay. So another element is what another principle of design is alignment. Alignment, the arrangement of various items in relation to the various border or edges of the allowable area. Alignment in graphic design definition isn't much different from this. It literally means the lining of graphics rather, and text in relation to the various edges of the divine design canvas. Okay, I had difficulty reading that. I'm sorry, but you can see that already. So alignment is just you can say it here. Alignment. If you check to the left, you are going to see that all other boxes or all other rectangles are being aligned except one, which on which it is written not aligned. So if your element is not aligned, it is not good in design. So you have to follow the principles of design. Then there is another illustration at the top, right corner of this canvas. You are going to see that there is red and orange, but the one the one to the left is not aligned, which is not good. Alignment can be in form of center alignment, it could be left alignment, it could be right alignment, it could be diagonal alignment, depending on how you are able to align it. But overall, you should make sure that alignment works in your design. Just make sure you check for it. Well, that being said, I want you to know that these are not all the principles of design. We have about 13 or more of them, but most importantly, these are the principles which are very paramount, which are very important for you to know as someone that is starting out as a graphic designer. Well, thank you so much for watching this to the end. I hope you learn and then apply it on your design. Thank you so much. Bye for now.